You ever have that one friend who's so full of herself that you can't even tell if she's delusional or just desperate for attention? Yeah, that was Jen. And trust me, what happened that night was one of the most satisfying reality checks I've ever witnessed. If you've ever known someone who lives in their own fantasy world, where every smile means they want me, then you're going to love this story. And if you've ever had to sit there while someone ignored every bit of common sense, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment at the end. Because this is the kind of poetic justice we all dream about seeing. So Jen, I met her back in college. She was fun, dramatic, loud. The kind of person who could make a quiet night out feel like a movie scene. But the problem with Jen was that she genuinely thought every man she interacted with was in love with her. Bartenders, baristas, waiters, you name it. If a guy smiled while asking if she wanted another drink, she was convinced it was because he couldn't resist her charm. At first, it was almost funny. My friends and I would share looks across the table, trying not to laugh when Jen leaned over and whispered, "Did you see how he looked at me?" We'd gently tell her, "Jan, that's literally his job. He's being polite. He wants a tip." But she'd roll her eyes like we were the clueless ones. According to her, we just didn't understand the signals. Now, I could have ignored it forever, but one particular night, Jen took her fantasy way too far. It was about a year after college. We decided to meet downtown for a few drinks, catch up, relive the old days. We picked this nice restaurant that had a classy bar inside. Dim lighting, fancy cocktails, the works. It was right next to a row of popular clubs, so the place was buzzing with energy. We grabbed a table near the bar, chatting and sipping drinks when suddenly I spotted someone I recognized walking in. My best friend's boyfriend, Matt. He was a friendly guy, mid-30s, tall, well-dressed. He spotted me too, came over with a big smile, and I introduced him to Jen. "Hey Jen, this is Matt. He's dating my best friend, Claire," I said. He smiled, shook her hand politely, and made small talk for maybe 2 minutes tops. Typical stuff: work, the city, plans for the weekend. Then, after checking his phone, he said, "Nice to meet you both. I'm gonna go find my friends. Enjoy your night," and left. Simple, casual, nothing out of the ordinary. But the moment he walked away, Jen's eyes lit up like she just won the lottery. She leaned across the table and said in this conspiratorial whisper, "Oh my God, he was totally hitting on me." I froze mid-sip. "What?" She smirked like she knew something I didn't. "You didn't see it. The way he looked at me. The vibe was strong. I could feel it." Now, I tried to stay calm. I said, "Jen, no, he wasn't hitting on you. He's literally my best friend's boyfriend. He's just being friendly." But she waved her hand like I was being naïve. "Please, you just don't get it. There was something there, the way he smiled, the eye contact I know when someone's interested." I looked at her and tried to hold back a laugh, because this wasn't just delusion, this was next level self-absorption. "Jen," I said, keeping my voice steady, "I wasn't giving you a vibe. He was giving me eye contact because I was the one talking to him." She crossed her arms, looking smug. "You'll see. I know that look when I get it." Okay, at this point, I decided to put an end to this nonsense. "Jen, listen carefully," I said. "He's not into you. He's not even into women. He's gay." Her smile faltered for a second, but she quickly recovered. "No way. He didn't seem gay." I blinked. "You think you can tell better than me? He's my best friend's boyfriend. I've literally been to dinner with them." "You saw me introduce him as her boyfriend. What part of that screamed available man to you?" But she just shrugged like logic didn't apply to her. Sometimes guys say they're taken to seem less suspicious. It's a vibe thing. You wouldn't understand. That's when I realized this wasn't just confidence. It was pure delusion. Jen was so desperate to feel desired that she'd rewrite reality to fit her fantasy. I didn't argue anymore. I just sat there, sipping my drink, silently letting her dig her own hole of embarrassment. Because deep down, I knew, one way or another, reality always wins. A few months went by, and I ran into Matt again at another gathering. He's hilarious, super chill. And when the story popped into my head, I couldn't resist telling him. I said, "You won't believe this, but remember that night I introduced you to my friend Jen? She was convinced you were flirting with her." Matt burst out laughing, like head thrown back, can't breathe kind of laughter. When he finally caught his breath, he said, "Oh my God, no. Even if I was straight, she would not be my type. I lost it. We both did. And that was it. That was the sweet taste of poetic justice I'd been waiting for." See, revenge doesn't always have to be dramatic. Sometimes the universe does all the work for you. Jen's own arrogance was her undoing. She wanted validation so badly that she imagined it everywhere, even from people who couldn't possibly be interested in her. But that's not even the end of it. Over the next few months, her delusions became almost predictable. We'd go out for coffee, and she'd insist the barista wrote a heart on her cup just for her. At a club, she'd claim the DJ was making eye contact across the room with her out of hundreds of people. My friends and I would exchange glances like, "Here we go again." Sometimes we'd even place silent bets on how long it would take before she said, "Hay's hitting on me." Usually it didn't take more than 10 minutes. Eventually, people stopped inviting her out. It was exhausting. She'd turn every social event into a delusional rom-com where she was the main character and everyone else was jealous. And honestly, it stopped being funny and started being sad. The final nail in the coffin came when she embarrassed herself at a mutual friend's party. She cornered a guy who was clearly uncomfortable, insisting he'd been sending signals. The poor man literally had to say, I'm married. Happily married." You could hear the room go quiet. Her face went red, and for the first time, she didn't have a comeback. After that, she started drifting away from the group. Not because we kicked her out. She just couldn't handle being around people who saw through her act. And you know what? I didn't feel bad, because sometimes people need that reality check. You can't go through life thinking the world revolves around you and expect everyone to keep playing along. So no, I didn't have to scheme or plot some big revenge. The universe did it for me. Her ego was the match, her fantasies were the gasoline, and reality lit the fire. The best revenge is when the truth exposes someone better than you ever could. I still see her posts pop up sometimes on social media. Selfies with captions like, "When he can't stop staring." Except if you look closely, there's no he. Just her alone, smiling at a reflection that only exists in her head. And every time I see one of those posts, I smile. Because that night, when she swore a gay man in a happy relationship was totally into her, was the night I realized something powerful. Some people aren't looking for love. They're looking for validation. And when you take that away, they don't know who they are anymore. So yeah, maybe it wasn't explosive, maybe it wasn't dramatic, but it was poetic. Watching her crumble under her own illusion was better than any revenge I could have planned. If you've ever dealt with someone who thought the whole world revolved around them, drop a comment below and tell me your story. Let's trade notes, because we all know Jen. And if you enjoyed this little dose of poetic justice, don't forget to like the video, hit subscribe, and join me next time for another story where karma doesn't just show up, it shows off.